I also heard you say several years ago that we are all underachievers, just to varying degrees.
Oh, I think that's true. No one is perfect, but some don't do nearly what they're capable of doing, and it's a question of making the effort to do the best of which you're capable.
Now, your players, and you had so many talented players, they accepted their roles, and in fact, they had no choice. They had to accept their role, and you insisted on discipline. What role has discipline played in your coaching success?
Well, it's a very important role. That's what helps bring about team play, and it also helps bring about the improvement of the individual. They have to discipline themselves to work the way they should. They have to discipline themselves to do the things they should do that's going to enable them to execute near their level of competency. There's just no question it's extremely important in almost everything.
How do you walk that fine line of being a disciplinarian without being portrayed as an ogre?
Well, it's not easy, and there are those that are portrayed as an ogre that have been successful in the eyes of others, because too often success is determined in athletics by the final score, but I don't think that's necessarily the indication of success. I should put not a true indication of success, maybe I should put, but you take a coach like Lombardi and football, a great coach, no question, got great results about it, and but yet, like one of his players, a great player that he had, said, "Does Coach Lombardi treat you all the same?" And he said, "Oh yes, he does. He treats us all like dogs." And then there's a very, very successful and outstanding coach, and Bobby Knight, that you've all heard of, I'm sure, and got great results. But he's more of the driver. They're more of the dictator type. But you can get results in different ways. You have to be yourself.
If we were interviewing Bobby Knight, we would have this chair glued to the floor. So it would stay put.
Well, that's he's got a lot of
style.
Recognition on that. That's true.
Given the opportunity, is there anything in your coaching career that you would do over if you had the opportunity to do it?
There are many things, because I learned as the years went by. If I go back to my early years, I wish that I had known what I learned, the things I learned in my later years than my earlier years. But of course, that's of course impossible. Yes, but the mistakes I made, I were not of the heart, and I know that I made mistakes and. Some of the disciplines that I had to do in my early years, some of the rules that I had, that I didn't see a gray area. It was either this or that, and I think I made some mistakes in that. I learned from it and didn't make them again. But there are things of that sort that, had I known better, I wouldn't have done it, but I didn't.
Your commitment to truth, again, they're very honest about who you are and what you've done, and not try to whitewash it. Those are great lessons to learn.
Well, it's like anything else, many things. A gambler, an alcoholic, they're diseases. But they can't be overcome unless you admit it and see it and be truthful about it.
If you could say one thing to America's leaders today, and they're in so many different fields, corporations, but let's say the people leading our nation, but leaders in general, what would you say to them?
Be open-minded.
Be open-minded.
That's right.
That takes a person committed to the truth, though, to be open-minded.
I would think so. Absolutely. Sometimes we don't listen enough, and we get, well, let's see, we get too stubborn about some things. We just believe what someone said. Let me think. Of stubbornness we deprecate, firmness we condone. The former is my neighbor's trait, the latter is my own. But sometimes we don't recognize that. We've got to stay open-minded and always be learning.
Why am I not surprised you had a poem for that as well?
I don't know.
What is the one piece of advice that you wish you would have been given when you started your coaching career?
Oh, I know there are many things. To say one piece of advice would be just impossible to pick out one, because I knew so little and maybe thought I knew more than I did. And but I know some of the mistakes I made, for example, was having too many rules that I thought. And I learned, for example, in my early years, I had a lot of rules and a few suggestions. As time went by, I had less rules and more suggestions. And I learned not to say what the penalty would be for a rule, because there can be different circumstances involving it, and for different individuals, the same action should be different than one for another for various reasons. And I think I learned things like that along the way that helped me.
Mm-hmm. What would you most like to be remembered for?
As one that was considerate of others.
That's great. You were a learner. I know you read a lot. You write a lot. That would keep a person young, curious, adventuresome. I mean, life is an adventure to you.
Oh, of course it is.
You're probably busier now than you were when you were teaching.
I really am. I sometimes think I should go back to UCLA, get a little rest.
Some people retire, others refire. And you have refired. You have refired. Now, the John R. Wooden course on leadership, which we're going to put up on the screen for folks, www.johnrwoodencourse.com. Tell me a little bit about that, how that came to be.
Well, Mr. Guerin could tell you a lot more about that than I do. Mm-hmm. But it's because of the fact that we visited and talked about how leadership in sports could also be applicable to business in various things. And Lynn, got to work on that and brought up many ideas. And I myself have learned from that. I believe it can be, which I didn't understand quite so much earlier. And I think the course is applicable to anyone in almost any profession.
Coach, you've had such an impact on so many of us over the years. You've been a mentor to myself. I was a little kid watching you coach basketball, and we all wanted to be around you. We all wanted to get inside your head and figure out some of that good wisdom. I appreciate so much you being on this show, the impact you've had on countless, hundreds of thousands of people, and that's no exaggeration. It's been absolutely tremendous. And tomorrow you're 94 years of age.
Yeah, correct.
That is incredible. When I grow up, I want to be like you. And we would love to have you back on your 100th birthday. That is, if I'm still around. We'd love to have you back. Thanks for being on our show today. It's been a pleasure to have you here. And thank you for joining us on Leadership Track. We'll see you next time.